So, hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us. Today, I am very lucky to be with a lady called Bibi, who's been working with me since September of last year. Someone who is going to go on to do some great things within the coaching space. So, watch this space. And it's someone who, over the last 6 months, although we've had a client and coach relationship, I am very lucky to now call Bibi a friend of mine. So, hello, Bibi. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Sean. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. My pleasure. So, obviously, you've come on and you've agreed to do this today because we've been working together for 6 months. And I think there's a lot of people out there who, when it comes to coaching, there's a lot of sort of grey areas. People have a lot of unanswered questions and they're not really sure whether it's sort of worth investing in a coach. And we've done some great work over the last 6 months. So, I wanted to bring you on here to share your sort of story and share the sort of journey that you've been on with the hope that it can help others help themselves take that first step.
Right. Yeah. So, as you know, I kind of found you through first working with Richard Grannon's courses and things and listening to stuff he did on YouTube. And up until around that time, I always had this perception that life coaching was quite, I don't know, there was something like sort of jazz hands, like psychological trickery vibe. I think it's because of watching Tony Robbins. So I had this sort of perception that I don't know, it was kind of brash and sort of not something that kind of drew me towards it as a process. And I think as I began to learn more about what NLP is and how it can help you, so I started to shift my thinking and just allowing myself to even think that maybe a life coach could be a good thing. So once I had kind of made that shift, then I was like, okay, well then who's going to be my coach, or how am I going to find one? Yes, and that's when I had seen your interview with Richard Grannon, and I had not watched any of your videos. I had just seen that interview, and I liked the exchange and that the kind of chatty, laid back nature with a bit of humor, and yeah, just the way that you communicated yourself. I don't know. I liked your vibe, so I thought I would give that a go. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So,
It's always sort of bizarre because we have these conversations, and especially online these days, it opens up so many doors. And if I'm honest, I brought Richard onto my channel because I wanted to become a better coach, and I wanted to sort of help others who wanted to become better coaches. And I honestly never gave it 1 second thought of whether potentially this could be a way that I would potentially bring on clients. But, very fortunately, we met. So thank you for first of all, thank you for trusting in me and deciding for me to be your coach. I want to just on that topic, I want to ask you then, what sort of problems did you have before actually working with me? So talk to me about how your life was before you hired a coach.
So I had, like I said, I had done a lot of work with Richard Grannon and stuff, and then I felt like I was at a point where I was ready to accelerate my life, really. I mean, so I'm turning 40 this year, and I didn't want to waste time. So if I could make the learning and the progression faster, that was something that was important to me. As well as, I think maybe my age has something to do with it. This feeling like I've got to just get on.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the big drivers as well for me, that I wanted to make progress faster. And I'd always been quite a motivated person in terms of having ideas and wanting to do things. But I had a lot of self-sabotage going on, a lot of issues with, recalling a lot of past failure and feeling like I'm always kind of revving the engine in neutral. Yeah. So that's that was for me what I was needing and looking for.
Okay, and you mentioned then you had a lot of sort of self-sabotaging behaviours, and you actually joined the program, the coaching program, when I was running the Stop Self-Sabotaging workshop in September. That's when you first reached out to me. So
Yeah.
you just mentioned then, obviously, you know, you're reaching this sort of milestone in society is 40, which you don't look 40, by the way. I'm sure anyone watching will vouch for that. But ultimately, you said something then. You said something that you always had these ideas and there was just a lack of sort of action. Now, that is common within the work that I do, and certainly the work that you'll go on to do too. And people have all of these amazing ideas, but they just lack that action. And sometimes it is just taking that first sort of step. So I want to ask you, and there's normally something that happens with clients, certainly in my experience, there's normally something that happens that makes them think, right, now's the time. So what was that time for you? What happened for you to be like, now's the time I'm going to invest in a coach?
Now's the time I'm going to invest in a coach. Well, I think, so I had more faith in the industry. And we were still in a version of lockdown, a lighter lockdown. And I had decided that probably a good use of my time would be to learn what I needed to do so that when lockdown did lift, I'd be in a much better position to just get going, because that was partly prohibitive for me, was the lockdown. So I felt like there was an opportunity for me to really move quickly as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find that one nugget that you've just asked me. What was it exactly? I had been thinking about it for a while. And I suppose maybe some of it is like deciding to invest in yourself as well. And at the same time, I had been on a whole bunch of kinds of courses where I had taken that step to invest in myself. But there's a lot of rubbish courses out there. Okay, obviously not Richard Grannon stuff, but yeah. So I had been on the fence of like, oh, do I do this, or is this just like another road of splashing out some cash and not really getting anywhere? But that's where seeing your video for me helped, because I picked up that you were authentic and really wanting to help people. So I felt that money wouldn't just be, pulled off me through clever marketing and then not much use out of it.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, it is a big sort of step investing in yourself. And I think I certainly started working with a lot of people during the lockdown. I mean, we were sort of very time rich. We had this abundance of time, and a lot of people had all of these ideas that they wanted to sort of bring into reality, which is something that I feel we've certainly done over the last sort of 6 months. There's been very recently as well, there seems to be a shift in sort of results and where we are together and in the work that we've done. So I just want to move on to that. I want to move on to sort of, we started working together in September. It's now, for anyone watching this on repeat, it's now the end of March. So I think you started with us in October. We had the discovery call September, and then we started working together in October. So it's 6 months, and you've just decided that you want to work together for another 2 months. So potentially we would have sort of done 8 months work together, one-to-one every single week. So I want to ask now then, what has been sort of, let me change the question actually. How are things like in your life now since working together for the last 6 months?
Okay, so if I compare, I have way less anxiety. And part of that is I ruminate less. So part of the self-sabotaging before was feeling like you didn't know how to get beyond a certain point. And so you're just sort of circling around on the edge and ruminating, and it's taking up a lot of your energy and your thoughts and whatever, but you're not really doing anything. So it's quite tiring, that. So I even, like, something just jumped into my head actually this morning, and I was like, gosh, I haven't thought about that like for months, and yet I probably thought about it daily before.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, so way less anxiety, and yeah, and just that alone just means that everything else is better. Like, I'm calmer. I enjoy the free time that I have because I'm not, plaguing myself with thoughts. So yeah, that I said that's the main thing, and then it just sort of ripples across everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And that tends to happen, as you well know, in terms of sort of coaching. People will come to me with 2 or 3 things that they'll want to fix. And normally I will ask the question, okay, well, which one of these things would have the sort of the best impact on the other two? And there's normally one that if we sort of focus on that and try and improve that sort of area aspect of their lives, then, as you said, it has that sort of ripple effect. So thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's really nice to hear, because you've seen my approach, my conversation with Richard. That was, me being completely honest, authentic, and I was very early on in the sort of coaching things, and you decided to sort of work with me. So I am forever grateful for that. So thank you. And it's nice, it's refreshing now to see, that we're 6 months on, and it has been valuable for you, because you mentioned earlier on in this recording that you was a bit apprehensive because you didn't want it to be, something that you chuck money at and it's a waste of money. So that's, that's really nice to hear. So thank you for that. So with that being said, what has been the sort of most valuable thing that you've taken from the work we've done together? So your life's changed because you're less anxious. You struggle less with those sort of anxiety thoughts, those anxious thoughts. But what would you say has been the most valuable thing that you've taken from the work we've done together? Because if you cast your mind back, we've had some really emotional sort of sessions. There's been tears, there's been laughter, there's been insights, there's been everything. So what would you say has been the most valuable, Bibi?
The most valuable thing, I think, is I feel as though I have, like, experienced now my own capabilities, or at least have begun to. So instead of everything being like a sort of theoretical jumbled mess, yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at me. I'm actually like doing the things that I've been wanting to do for ages. That's cool. Yes, and the way of simplifying things is very important. So I feel like things are simpler to attend to. And I think like accountability as well is a huge thing. I mean, for me, I work on my own. I'm a single mom. I live on my own. So it's kind of quite lonely, and there's no, I mean, yes, I have my mum and these kinds of things. She's around, but I don't have an office culture. I don't have I don't have elders. And, there's no real internet elders as well. I mean, I guess they do exist, but it's like, where are the people that can help me? And so with the trust that there is between you and I, and in that relationship comes in accountability as well, and being able to be accountable. I know of course it's to myself, right? But the whole point of kind of being a human as well is to be accountable to others. So having that accountability as well is like a huge part for me anyway. That's really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing with, being an adult, as you mentioned, then there's no one around to keep track of what we said we're going to do. For example, we say we're going to do X, Y, or Z and we don't do it. We're only letting ourselves down. It's like, oh, well, just add that to the list of things that you said you were going to do and never ended up doing it over the last 30 years. And we all do it. We all do that, which is why the accountability is such a huge part in coaching. And that is, it's something so minor, but it's so powerful and so effective because, as I said, as adults, we're left to police ourselves. And I've spoken about that to you before. So having somebody there to sort of hold you accountable to say, well, you said you're going to do this. We worked out this was important. You said you wanted to do that. And there's so much sort of confidence in actually achieving what you've set out to achieve. Confidence comes from the sort of accomplishment side. And, we've had sessions where you've said, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. And you come to the next session, you're full of energy, you're excited, you're optimistic, you're ambitious. And that's such a sort of a lighter way to live. And I'll use lighter because it's a word that, we've thrown around before, because that's how you sort of describe yourself. Since working with you, seem a lot lighter. And, I think that does come from a sort of less anxious thoughts. So thank you for that. And I think it's really helpful for people who don't understand sort of what they get from a coach when they work with a coach. So I think that was really important. So with that being said, Bibi, I want to ask, what sort of advice would you give to anyone who is perhaps feeling how you felt? Maybe they're a bit stuck. Maybe they have all of these ideas that they want to sort of achieve or accomplish or turn into reality, but they just don't know really where to start. Maybe they're thinking of hiring a coach, but they're a bit apprehensive. What advice would you give?
Well, I think part of it is just try it. I mean, although you don't want to waste your money potentially on someone who's not good, it's not a huge loss, if 2 or 3 sessions and you maybe decide it's not for you. So the first thing is, I think you actually can just try it. The other part, and again, this is just my own feeling about it beforehand, is part of my personality is that I do want to do things on my own, and sort of feel this accomplishment of doing a whole bunch of things by myself and all this sort of stuff. However, like I said, it takes time, though, to learn about so many different things. So I had resolved that, I could reinvent the wheel on my own, or I could just save myself a whole bunch of time, because there's people out there who've studied other things for years and know about so many other things, and to just rather learn and give myself a break from trying to figure out everything myself all the time. And I fell into that trap, I think, because, like I said, being the single mom, having like my own little business, you just get used to feeling responsible for everything, and not just taking that little step back and going, okay, I could do this all on my own, but yeah, it's going to take me ages and it's going to be lonely. So that was my experience, and that's kind of what I'd say is just try it. And if you'd like to have like a nicer time and move faster, then get yourself a coach. If you like to struggle and stuff, stay on your own. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And then there's a beautiful thing is that I understand that investing financially into a coach can be a sort of big step. It can be quite people can be quite apprehensive and scared and worried and anxious and concerned, like, oh, I'm going to hand this money over to the stranger. And I understand that, which is why I offer a completely full money back guarantee. And as you well know, I say to all of my clients when we start working together, if you do not find value in the work that we do together, I'll give you the money back. Because for me, it's important that we are progressing and we are getting the results that the clients want. So if they're not, and I'll just give them the money back. I mean, I'm very proud to say that no one's ever asked for their money back because we've got them the results that they want. So, thank you for that. I think it's really important that, as you said, and just catch what you said. You said, if you want to struggle, then stay on your own. If you want to get where you want to get to quicker, then hire a coach. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. So just to sort of, while we'll come to the end of the recording, first of all, thank you Thank you for sharing everything. I know we've done some brilliant work over the last 6 months, and hopefully we can continue to do that over the next 2 months. But I just want to give you a couple of minutes and tell the people of YouTube, of my community, what it is that you do and where they can find you if they're interested in that.
Right. Okay. So I run a wellness studio for pensioners. So the 60 plus ish, around there, and older. I think the oldest lady who comes is, I think she's 85. And yeah, and then the youngest I think is 60. So yes, I run this wellness studio. It's called Coffin Dodgers. And yeah, so I help people who are, getting a little bit older and perhaps losing some physical strength and mobility, and it's beginning to affect their lives and affecting what they really want to do. So a lot of the time, like, you have to be reasonably fit and well to play with grandkids, to pick them up off the floor. I mean, even taking your dog for a walk and the way they kind of pull on the lead. If you're starting to feel less confident in your body, afraid of falling, these kinds of issues, then that's what my studios is specifically for, is to really help find ways of moving in a gentle way that helps the joints and doesn't put too much strain on them. And as well, there's a whole well-being component as well. So in my studio, everybody gets like a little massage at the end, and I do a little visualization, and it's just, I love it. I love all the people that come. So that's basically what I'm doing for now, and I've done it. I started it just as lockdown began, so it's been sort of on the down low, and now I'm ready to expand it. So I have a Facebook page, and it's called Coffin Dodgers. Okay, I don't know how many other Coffin Dodgers might be out. But yes, you can find information on there. And I do have a YouTube channel, but I'm quite new to getting videos up there. You'll see a few things there, but that's called Be the Change. That's the name of my YouTube channel. Yeah, so that's what I do. And then I've also started a life coaching course. So at some point further down the line, I'll be qualified with that. But yeah, that's what I do, and that's kind of about me.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. And this video will be out on YouTube for quite some time. So what I'll do is I'll pop Bibi's Facebook group in the description and her YouTube channel if you want to check her out. And you are on the way to sort of becoming a coach too. So yeah, I'm sure they can expect to see all of that there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Perfect. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.